Well, it's only 10 right now. Bang on the number.
But we got dead air.
Dead air.
Questions. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I was talking to the people out there on the radio. I said, make sure you did your homework. Come on over and make sure you brought your homework.
Nice. Good morning, Kelly.
Kelly's already told me she did not do her homework.
No, Kelly's already sending us a brown butthole in the morning or a bullet hole.
A bullet hole in the morning.
Morning, Facebook user. How are you?
Welcome in, everybody. I feel like my camera's a little low today.
Oh, yeah?
I'm like squatting down to sit. There we go. Much better. So, beautiful picture you have there.
Yes, it's pretty nice. She's going to end up in the gallery on Etsy for sure with the can of goddesses.
Yeah. I love the commercials. They've been fantastic. A lot of clicks too. I feel like, for so many groups, I feel like, 10 clicks in every, I'm not clicks are way more than that. I mean, but like actual interactions.
Yeah.
10 people interacting in each group is fantastic.
Well, I got him on.
Kelly's on vacation for a week.
Nice.
Yeah. It's her anniversary week. So her and her husband are, going to celebrate their anniversary the right way.
How many years?
5 years married, 25 together, or 7
nice.
Together, like that.
Nice. Oh, that's always good. I know I've been married a long time, so.
Me too.
Hey, Steve.
Good morning, Steven. How are you, sir? He's the only one. If everybody had like a code word for those Facebook users, then we would be able to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Good day. And then we know it's Steve.
Yeah.
So, Dr. High, after hours and hours of research, I went out, actually hours and hours of work here. Then I got up and I went out to the hole where my son dug the plant up.
Okay.
And there are numerous of those plants growing everywhere out there.
Okay.
So I have a beautiful weed growing. I am growing weed. It's just not the right weed.
That's right. Weed is weed, right? Just not the right weed. Morning, Lori.
I'm very disappointed. And you know what? Something that I didn't even think of the other day when you said, and I'm not blaming you because it was my own stupidity. You were like, get rid of those other ones that are around the outside. And then I look back in my mind right now. And there was that one that was really thin and tall and skinny, and it kind of came up the side of the cup.
Okay.
Kind of, it was way on the side, and I'm like kicking myself in the ass if that could have been the one that, was like tall like the other little one over and the one that's growing in the other cup right now.
Maybe.
But it was really thin and skinny and like scrawny looking. So I just pulled it, pull, and kept that main one, and it was in the middle where the seed went. And now that seems to be a weed that I'm growing out in my yard. I have numerous of them.
That's funny.
I have a plantation of them. I'm growing. If anybody wants any of this weed that I have a lot. It's out in my yard. I'm growing it.
It's unidentified, but it's available.
No, I think we can get it identified now because there's bigger ones, there's smaller ones. They're starting to flower. Some of them are starting to flower. Mine's right? Just a baby.
I was watching a video yesterday.
Hopefully there's weed mixed in with it. Maybe I have a new strain of weed and some sort of. My son grows mint right in there. It could be mint and weed mixed.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Like tobacco. Remember tobacco from The Simpsons? Tomaccos?
No, I never really watched.
They had tomatoes and tobacco grown together, and they were selling them.
Tomaccos.
I think that's what it was called, something like that.
That's funny.
It's immaculate.
Yeah. Lori, I did get your order. I sent you a message this morning. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And I'm really curious to see how the quality comes out when you receive it. You're going to have to take some pictures and send it to me because I really am very curious as to how it comes out. I did a lot of research with my production partner, and I got a great deal of confidence in them. So
she's bragging over there. You see her? She's like, it cost me less than what you sold it for.
Yeah, because Lori's been such a great customer with me, and the same with anybody, right? If you become a repeat customer, that's 20% off of any order you make into the future.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the whole thing is developing relationships, right? That's the best business when everybody gets fair value for money and everyone's happy.
I always thought that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean,
but I always get stabbed in the back when I try to build relationships. Like, all right, no more fucking relationships.
Yeah, sometimes you do. You can't control what everybody's like, but you have to take the risk, I guess, sometimes. And nothing ventured, nothing gained, they say.
Right.
So,
I just learn and keep on going. I learn and I keep on going. I get knocked down, but I get up again. There you go.
You and the hippie broke up. Uh-oh.
What?
Oh.
She didn't even tell me.
Well, this is a fine way to find out on air.
This is the first I'm hearing of it on the air.
Let's not
I feel like Don Lemon getting fired at CNN. What the fuck?
Yeah, I got a better one. When I was in the States, one of the correctional officers who was on the unit that night found out that his wife was having an affair with another corrections officer in the institution, and he had a mental breakdown right there in front of 125 inmates. This guy went to pieces, crying, fucking like. Of course. We were like, "What the fuck is wrong with this dude?"
Well, I mean, he was in love. Some of us don't love our wives. Some guys are still in love with their wives.
Yeah, but you just don't break down in front of 125 hardened criminals like that. There'll be no sympathy in that room for you.
I don't. Oh, he was a criminal. I thought he was one of your. I thought he was like a CO or something.
He was.
He was a CO, and he was working.
Yeah,
and he was just like, ah.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him.
Had to come get him. They had to come take him away.
Did you guys beat his ass while he was crying over there?
No, this sort of thing. I'll tell you what. Like you don't touch those guys because you do, and it's a big problem for everybody. You know what I mean? So those guys are just there doing their job. For the most part, they're really decent people. You know what I mean? For the most part, there were some dickheads there, but mostly it's because they were young, right, and new on the job and wanted to appear correct. But for the most part, anybody who was a veteran was really like decent. They live there too, right? They're there,
right? Yeah,
8-10 hours a day too. They understand the dynamic and
life.
As long as you didn't make trouble for them, they didn't really make trouble for you, right? Which is okay. It was all right. Don't worry, if hippie acts up on a road trip, I'm leaving him on the side of the road. But you gotta be careful with the hippie because the crows can come and take him away. He's a little guy,
laying in the road like this. Every car that goes by, my handle flap in the air from the wind of the cars.
That's it. The crows will think he's roadkill, snatch him up. You'll end up in a tree someplace and we'll never get him back.
Son of
you know good. You know good like that.
Yeah. Anyway, Doc, so that was bad news. I got bad news there, but the other one is thriving, and the third one still hasn't made an appearance yet. I might be screwed on that one too.
The road to being a seasoned grower comes with many potholes.
What I want is just one, and then I can start. Then I could start cutting those limbs and making more. I don't care about. I don't want to do from seed.
Have you taken a lesson from the experience?
I have. Don't take the dirt from the yard.
There you go. You won't have that problem again then.
That's one fresh dirt.
Try you and Lori do, yeah. That's it. Or Chucky.
I'm learning from Lori now. Oh my God, this is horrible. Somebody
Now
from
yours
West
is coming
Virginia is
good,
teaching
Lori.
me.
Is it starting to thicken up, become a little more dense, and
Hers
start to
looks
look better?
very pretty, except for the yellow polka dots.
Yellow polka dots, that's generally a deficiency in the nutrients.
Yeah, she's working on it. They went away a lot, though. They've gone from
Oh,
yellow spots, like
good.
yellow leaves, to down to yellow polka dots. They're coming back nicely.
Yeah,
She's doing a great job.
that's good. Curious to see how it comes, because West Virginia, I'm not sure what the weather's like in West Virginia, how long the season is, but that plant should probably be ready in 6 weeks or so. So I'd be pretty curious to see how it comes out.
Well, it's up to her titties now, probably.
Okay.
But she is an older woman, and her titties do sag quite a bit. So, like to her knees.
Oh, right. There we go. I'm sure you love that, eh, Lori? Do you concur?
I'm gonna get flicked in the nose. I might as well cover my nose now.
That's right. Deservedly so.
My ass.
Well, that'll have to be pretty low to the ground too.
I love you. I'm
reach
kidding.
Yep, that'll have to be pretty low to the ground for Hippie to reach too.
Yeah, your ass has got to be down. I'm not a tall fella.
No.
Her titties will hang right about my mouth.
Vertically challenged.
Oh, whoa! What are you guys looking at there? Holy shit!
Oh, jeez.
I realized my skirt was up. Oh my
Christ, robe.
Shh! Don't tell everybody. Anyway, welcome in, everyone. We got to get to talking here. What do we do? Better bring Hippie J.
Did you find any good stores?
Stores or stories?
Stories.
Oh, I haven't even looked yet. I can look now, though.
So, well, no, you don't need to. Because I spent a little time with the old Chat GPT this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I asked it to.
A lot about marijuana smoke being safer than, and they're wrong. It's not safer than cigarette smoke. A lot of stories about that I've seen the last 2 days.
What, cannabis smoke being safer than cigarette smoke?
They're saying it's not any safer.
It is in some respects and not in others, right? See, the problem with tobacco, if it's natural tobacco, if it's you know what I mean? Like here you can buy natural tobacco on First Nations land that hasn't been sprayed with extra nicotine, because the way they get away with it, right, is they'll squeeze all the stems and everything out in real tobacco production. And they'll take all that juice that has the extra nicotine and they will add it back into the tobacco in order to boost nicotine levels and stuff like that. And there's other chemicals used in the process too when they formulate cigarettes. So real cigarettes like that come from Philip Morris or whoever does them are not equal to tobacco, are not equal to cannabis, right? But if you're talking about natural tobacco and cannabis, then there probably is quite a bit of similarity, because in both instances, you are combusting plant material. And as we know, from the days before we used little cardboard filters and stuff, how much resin and tar is in that smoke, right? So, yeah, there's probably some negative too. There's irritation of the upper respiratory tract.
Yeah, well, we talked about that lady who sued the guy who lived below her in the apartment building, and she won. He's no longer allowed to smoke weed in his apartment because she has to smell it, and that's bull, but whatever.
What would you like to know about the distillate, Lori?
I don't know what she wants me to ask you.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking Lori what she wanted to know.
She said ask him about it like I know. Like I know what she's talking about.
BS? What's BS? Yeah,
the lady suing.
Oh yeah, that's kind of foolishness, but yeah, I mean,
so I have that story here. Many Americans wrongly believe marijuana smoke is safer than cigarette smoke. Cannabis use has become legal in many U.S. states for medical or recreational use. Americans' view on the drug may have gotten rosier In fact, the new report, over 44% of adults now believe smoking weed each day is safer than inhaling tobacco smoke. The perception is counter to the science. However, you could have a serious impact on public health. The research that has been coming out actually suggests that there's a lot of overlap in terms of the toxins and carcinogens that are in both cannabis and tobacco smoke, noted the study author, a professor of medicine at the University of California, blah, blah, blah. We have learned in the past few years seems more concerning, not less concerning. For the study involving more than 5,000 adults, researchers focused on the public perception of smoking the two substances using data from 2017 to 2021. For this study involving, oh no, I read that part. Many of those surveyed felt daily cannabis smoke was safer than smoking tobacco every day, while about 37% thought it was safer in 2017. That grew to 44 by 2021. The researchers saw a similar pattern for secondhand smoke, with 35% considering secondhand smoke cannabis safer than tobacco smoke in 2017 and going to 40% in 21. The reality is that smoke of any kind isn't good for your lungs. The study authors stressed, I feel like one of the misconceptions is that, well, cigarettes are bad for you because there's all these chemicals in them. That is absolutely true. The part that of why they're bad for you, but really a huge piece of the harm from the cigarette is simply that they are a material that is being combusted. It sounds just like what you just said. Combusted, and you're inhaling the smoke. If I'm saying stuff that you just said, then say, shut up, hippie. He doesn't like to read.
No, because what it does is
it makes me practice reading. Thank you.
Well, no, not makes you practice reading, but it just reaffirms what I had said. Right. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, and that's in their opinion, as well. But I mean, yeah, it's totally. I agree. I mean, secondhand smoke is not good. Definitely not good. I mean, asthma, especially with small children, that definitely causes asthma in small children.
Yeah.
Other things like that, So anyway.
No. So else? Kelly says her tenant smokes weed upstairs. So I hope you actually give him a break on his rent for neighborhood community mindedness, because that's always a good thing. That's never a problem. So Lori rather have distillate than bud. Yeah, I can understand that for sure. And it's better for your lungs. Maybe a little harder on them, but you're only vaping distillate as opposed to actually combusting.
Oh no, she doesn't even like the vaping. She wants to eat that shit.
Oh, edible's good. So what does he want to know, Lori? You want me to take a look at your dispensary and see what product?
She don't got no dispensary.
It says which ones to get. So where does she get the distillate from that she got now?
Her husband picked it up going through New York, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's months from now. They're going to change distillates 100 times. I'm going to be able to get distillate at my, don't worry about it. I know I can get it at my dispensary.
Yeah. And then send it over.
No, we're getting together. She's going to be with me. We're getting it for her when we go to Muck Sticky.
Okay. Nice.
Speaking of Muck Sticky, look at the time, dude.
Oh,
you're in charge of this shit, man.
I don't pay attention to the clock.
You're in charge. Happy 420 to everybody over there in the Netherlands. We'll be back after the song and some commercials.
Come on, everybody, let's smoke some. Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Mrs. Hippie. Check out Vern at You Have Me Hooked 23 on Etsy, and You Have Me Hooked over at TikTok. She's amazing. She can make anything.
Can she make me a crystal vagina that doubles as a worry stone?
Oh my God, Hippie, no. But she can crochet anything from blankets to bags, purses, and hats.
And even a pussy?
Cat! A pussy cat. Grab up Vern at You Have Me Hooked 23 on Etsy, and You Have Me Hooked on TikTok.
Uh-oh, what? Are you in trouble?
No, I just had too much shit on my screen here. I couldn't hit me a button because I was in the middle of downloading something.
Oh, but I thought you had them on Facebook and on TikTok.
That's only on Mondays, Tuesdays, Saturdays, Sundays. Today I want to go there and pick up all my great finds.
That sounds like a great road trip. That's Bella's Badass Crystals on TikTok and Facebook, but you can also find them at the top of the mountain in Dauphin, PA. They are badass.
WTHC, we're back and hanging with Dr. High. What's up, buddy? How are you? So you said you were doing that. I mean, do we have any more questions? I wasn't looking.
ChatGPT was actually pretty good about this morning.
Yeah, you were saying that.
It brought up some interesting ideas. Let me open her up.
All right. Yeah, I put it in the other day, and it gave me some questions, but then it gave me a whole bunch of answers with it, and I was like, that'll work.
I tell it just the questions. I don't want the answers. It's more fun to think about it, you know?
Yeah, I could have kept going, but I was like, all right, it works. I'll just use that.
So I moved and I started smoking. Okay. I don't vape it. I eat it. Yes. No, you're seeing Lori on Saturday?
Yeah, Curly Kill and I are hanging out with her on Saturday.
Man, that's a lot of driving to hang out, no?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, get me one too. I want 3, Lori says.
Yeah.
Nice.
They think I'm their personal drug dealer.
No,
Yeah.
we looked at Kelly's dispensary yesterday, and they don't have distillate and syringes.
No.
That's only a 1-week supply. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to try the drops, Lori?
Yeah.
And Kelly wants the powder. The CBD, I would imagine. Has yours shipped already, Hippie?
Yeah. I don't know. I have to talk to Mississippi.
Don't have it anymore. Next time I go, I'm going to ask. Damn.
It should have. She was supposed to have ordered it yesterday.
Yes. Yeah, they can work. Absolutely. It's a very common form of dosing for medical patients is in gel caps. So yes, they absolutely work. No problem with that at all. But you have to anticipate it's going to work the same as an edible. So allow up to 2 hours to experience any effects. So once you take it, 2 hour waiting time to see what's going on before you decide that it's not working and go again. That's all. Just take your time with it.
Oh, excuse me.
So this is the sort of thing it gave me this morning.
Okay, I'm ready.
Into categories. History and culture. How has the cultural perception of cannabis changed over the last century? So a century ago, it wasn't really a problem. It wasn't until 1937 that the perception really changed. 100 years ago, cannabis was still fairly normal. It was in a lot of medical preparations. You could buy it from Sears. You could buy it from pharmacies, things like that. It was pretty normal. It was in 1937 that everything really changed. And from 37 till, I'm not sure when California and Colorado really started to open up, but I think that was probably 2010, 2011, 2012, something like that. Do you know when the dates were, when the years were?
Me, no. But I got a question. I have a faint memory of my childhood. And like I told you, my grandmother used to have to order from a catalog because she lived up in the Adirondacks in a very small town, and so they didn't have like big stores or anything near them. You had to go hours to go to the big stores. And
I remember those places, the catalog centers, where you go in and just look at the catalogs and place your order at the counter and then ship. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. So they had that for a very long time when I was a younger kid, And I remember looking through their catalogs and seeing hemp for sale. I mean, and was that, I mean, I know hemp is still for sale to this day, but I mean, was hemp different back then? Did they use it for different things? I mean, I feel like they used it more often in the catalog. Like you've seen it for a lot more stuff and then it's gone down. Is that true or am I wrong?
What, the amount of products that are being made from hemp?
Yeah, like back when we were kids, more shit was made by hemp. And then they kind of slowed down, and maybe it's coming back now. Yeah, but
you're talking like clothing and such.
Yeah, clothing, blankets. I just remember a lot of stuff being made from hemp. In that catalog, it might have been, and this might have been in the early 70s. I'm talking. In that catalog.
I don't really recall that. I don't think it was on my radar at the time, so I don't really know. But hemp has been. I mean, all the major navies of the world, the rope that's used to secure the mooring lines and stuff, hemp. Stitching in military boots, hemp. You know what I mean? It has a durability and strength that's beyond most natural fibers. So there are so many uses. It's not even funny. You can build your house from it. You know what I mean? They can make concrete from hemp. They can make particle board. You know what I mean? Like the particle board that you use, the plywood sheets that were all laminated particles of wood and chips of wood. They can do that with hemp. And it's naturally mold resistant and flame retardant. Not flame proof, not fireproof, but fire retardant. They can now make those same type of pressed beams. So for trusses for the home, there's just so many things that can be done with this plant. It would really, if they just opened up the world to hemp production, and then they'd have to kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit to redesign the machinery that's necessary to work with it, because it's a very, very strong fiber plant, so it's really hard on machinery. They can't use the same thing they use to harvest cotton or something like that. They need something more hardy, right? Yeah.
What what got them away from it? I mean, what's the reason? Is it because it's cannabis? Is that, I mean, why, if it is such a great item and it is so great, and why are they fighting us on it? Is that part of the whole weed thing?
I'm not 100% sure, but this is my theory on it anyway. I think at one time there was no difference between cannabis and hemp. I think back in the days of George Washington and when the founding fathers were growing it, and because they talk about using it.
I think they probably called it hemp. They didn't know what marijuana, the name marijuana.
The word marijuana didn't even really come around until the 30s, right? And
right, that's what I'm saying. So, like, back then.
Yeah, and that's funnily enough.
I found another song, one of my other songs. I can't play it today, because but one of the newer songs that I have is another one that talks about marijuana and the Declaration of Independence being signed on marijuana or
on hemp paper.
On hemp paper, yeah, and it's still on hemp paper to this day, wherever, and it's just craziness. But then, now it's proven that it's so great and helpful for everything and different things. I mean, just millions of things, clothing, trees, saving the trees. You can grow hemp and cut it down and grow more and cut it down and grow more and stop cutting my damn trees down. My neighborhood is starting to look like a damn cookie cutter home now up here in the Poconos. Really
change the world in a lot of ways. It can help with the environment, number one. 1 acre of hemp produces as much oxygenation and cleaning of the air as 25 acres of trees. It performs the same function. You know what I mean? It's renewable each and every year.
I don't want to get political, but why? Why is this being held up somewhere? Why? I
think you hit the nail right on the head, right? Back at the time when this plant became illegal, there was an emergence of new technologies that utilized petroleum to make synthetic fibers, nylon, rayon, polyester. Those are just coming to the forefront. There was an evolution in pharmaceuticals and medicine that were changing. And I think the plant was a threat to commerce, to the evolution of new and emerging businesses that had to compete with that fiber and with that plant. And I think that had a lot to do with it. And what they really did, and this is where the word marijuana comes from, that was a Spanish word used by the Mexicans to describe cannabis. And they wanted to demonize that word because of its association, right? And they used racial means to turn people against the plant. First, it was the Spanish that came up from South America to work in the fields and in the agricultural industry and all that in the southern states. So they started saying that, they used marijuana, and the marijuana was caused them to do crazy things to white women and, all the stuff you see in Reefer Madness. And then they went after the jazz musicians who started to use that as part of their rituals or whatever the case may be. Like even guys like Cab Calloway wrote the song Reefer Man back in maybe the 30s. You know what I mean? So this was a really normal part. But what they did was they went after it. You got to remember the guy that actually put this into law, who was the head of the Bureau of Narcotics, a guy named Harry Anslinger, was a nephew of the DuPonts. And he was the one who initially enacted it. Right. But I think the reason that it became illegal was for political and capitalist reasons, more so than any fear or danger of the plant, because the generations before that used it as medicine regularly. And throughout the course of history, 5,000 years at least, you can go back and find cannabis preparations inside the tombs of the Egyptians and the ancient Chinese. So, I mean, we've had a relationship with this plant for time immemorial, really. You know what I mean? Good morning, Tina. How are you today?
Morning, Tina. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because there's just so much use for it. I mean, paper, just everything, toilet paper, or paper
You
towel,
could
whatever.
take if like who's a segment of the population in the chain that really suffering these days? Farmers, right? Farmers have a hard time of it because it's very expensive to run a farm. The machinery is expensive. You're at the mercy of the elements. Some years are good harvest, some years are bad harvest. Farmers notoriously have a hard time getting loans from the banks
because of their unpredictability.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if they converted a big chunk of growing hemp, number one, these weather anomalies wouldn't have as great of an effect on the crop. Secondly, there's so much benefit to the environment. It's renewable.
You mean the hemp can stand up to some weather? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it won't suffer the same consequences. Let's say soybeans or
tomatoes.
It's not a food, but the seeds actually can be a food, right? And the oils from those seeds, they contain all the omega-3 and 6
seed oil. They have no issue with that nowadays, right?
They have all the amino acids for that. But the thing is now it's breaking the stigmas, and it's the machinery that's a problem. Good morning, Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. Good morning.
Yeah, it's the machinery that's a problem because the
notice today there's no. Do you notice today there's no Facebook users?
Yeah, only one or two I saw right at the very beginning.
Something's up today. I don't know. It's weird. Our numbers are way down. Our Facebook users are not here.
Yeah, strange.
No. Anyway, keep going.
But
I'm still having a great time with this conversation.
There you go. The equipment that's required to harvest and process hemp is just not hardy enough to stand up to the plant. It will cause a lot of mechanical issues. So the first thing is that you have to redesign the equipment that's used, right, to separate the cellulose from the fiber and things like that. So there are some impediments, but the biggest one is the federal illegality. Most of the CBD that you're getting on the marketplace has come from hemp. They're not extracting cannabis, sativa, or indica marijuana for CBD. They're using hemp. You know what I mean? Because hemp has a higher percentage of CBD than THC. That's the definition of hemp, 0.03% or less.
Right.
But it's getting the farmers, and don't forget, you have companies like who's that big genetically modified food company in the
Green Giant? Oh no,
the one that provides all the farmers and everything. Monsanto.
Oh yeah, no, I have no idea.
Monsanto, and their seeds are designed so that farmers can't utilize the seeding of their own crops and things like that to do the next harvest, right? They're keeping them all on the hook. It's all genetically modified under the guise of stronger, hardier plants with less likelihood of failure during crop production and harvest. And it's hard probably for farmers to access, 1 million hemp seeds that can be sown into the fields at this time, right? So
now, what's the difference? I mean, I guess the plant. I mean, what's the difference between a hemp seed and a marijuana seed?
Well, a hemp seed will grow a plant that has less than 0.03% THC, while a marijuana seed will grow a plant that has whatever amount of THC.
I get that, but
it's a bit more of a genetic.
Why is this what makes it different? I mean, I know the 3 point or whatever, but I mean, how do I explain this?
I was going to say, because I don't understand your question otherwise.
Yeah, it's kind of a question, but it's kind of at the Curly Kel's got to take a shit.
Oh,
right,
that's
thank you for letting us know.
We'll be expecting a full update after you've completed the procedures and
everything came out all right, I hope. Anyway, how did they recognize that this was hemp and this was marijuana? I mean, I guess through testing.
And the visual appearance too is kind of different, right?
Is it different? It doesn't look like marijuana. I don't know if I've ever seen hemp. Always thought it looked the same.
I mean, the leaf structure is the same, but the plants tend to grow tall and skinny and wispy. But this could be due to the way they're planted also, that don't allow the plants the opportunity to actually branch out, right? Because if they're planted dense enough, they're going to grow to the sun straight
Right.
up. And if they're close enough to other plants, they won't really be able to extend into that because they're not getting the sunlight necessary. So it's like stretching, right? If your lights are too high from the top of your plant will stretch to reach the light. So in a field of hemp that's relying on the sun, they're all stretching to reach the sunlight. And if they're a dense enough pack, which they generally are in a hemp field, it probably doesn't allow that plant to fully
open.
Yeah,
Go up.
exactly. Yeah,
it doesn't get bigger; it just goes
like
up.
bamboo, right? It looks
because
very
there's so
similar to
many of them.
forest. Yeah,
But it can be tall. It doesn't need to be. You want it to be tall because you want those fibers, right, to be longer, so you can use them for your things that you want to use them for. You can make them shorter. You can't make them longer, right? So you want them to be as tall as you can.
Yep.
So
And what it is about hemp that makes it so beneficial is its actual raw elements. It's 70% fiber and 30% cellulose. And those can be used in so many things. Plastic.
So I can take some of that shit out of me. I can take some of that shit out of my ass, cellulose, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But biodegradable plastic can be made from cannabis. Plastic that degrades in the landfill from the cellulose, right? That can be used to create plastic that's biodegradable. Change the world.
Totally makes sense. It totally makes sense to not use this stuff.
But it hurts a lot of industry, right? It hurts a lot of pre-established industries because
you can reestablish around the hemp industry. You don't. I mean, all right. So
you have to have
everybody's suffering, what about these smaller towns, these smaller state? You know, like I can't think of the place offhand, but there's a place in the north central part of the United States that is.
Fable, how are you today?
Or Detroit, for instance. Okay, yep. I've heard some, that it's losing its popularity. People are leaving Detroit. It's not as
well. They're leaving the inner city and going to the suburbs because it's so derelict, right? They've revitalized the downtown core of Detroit.
I'm saying, start revitalization there. All right, that town needs to be revitalized. Start it with a hemp industry and start revitalizing everything around it with hemp, and then build from there. I mean, no.
Well, I can tell you, when legalization happened in Canada, there were plenty of small communities that were trying to attract licensed producers to re-inject some vitality into the communities and to bring commerce and business and taxation and all these things. So, as you see more legalization, you're going to find that more communities will become open to the prospect of having these type of businesses and industries in their areas, right? But right now, there's still the stigma to overcome. This is the real problem, and you have an unwillingness for change simply because it could affect the revenue streams of so many different businesses, plastic producers, petroleum producers. Like right now, they use corn to make ethanol, but corn is food. So when you start taking corn out of the ecosystem as a food that can either be cattle feed or human food, to start using it for ethanol, then what happens to the price of corn as a grain? It has to go up because there's less corn. There's still the same demand, but there's less supply.
Right.
So if they stopped using corn for ethanol and use cannabis, which they can do 100%, then there's no drain on that grain. The full supply is still available. The price will come down. And you used now a plant that is so hardy and so easy to grow to replace that supply ethanol. So we'd no longer need gasoline. Really, enough hemp could be grown on this planet to probably supply the fuel needs. But I don't know. I mean, 100 million barrels a day the U.S. goes through in oil. So, I don't know how realistic it is for hemp to be able to replace it in its entirety. But it can certainly have impact.
It ain't getting any smaller either every day. More cars are being produced.
Yeah.
More people are buying. Hey, how'd your son make out buying his car?
We had a very long conversation, and he decided to take a different path. And I'm very pleased at him for doing so. See, we have a good friend, somebody I've known for a very.
Is it a forceful conversation? Like, no, dumbass, you're not doing this.
No, because I simply told my son when he countered one of my arguments, I said, "Well, listen, Ty, you're an adult. Do it your way and find out. Plain and simple. Just do it your way."
Marcel, how are you?
Good morning,
buddy?
Marcel. How are you feeling?
All right, Marcel, I got to do a bunch of commercials. We'll be right back. You're hanging with the hippie and Dr. High.
I'm going to give 2 minutes of the view for everyone.
This is Hippie. Check out Vern at You Have Me Hooked
Nice
23 on Etsy, and You Have Me Hooked over at TikTok. She's amazing. She can make anything.
Can she make me a crystal vagina that doubles as a worry stone?
Oh my God, Hippie, no. But she can crochet anything from blankets to bags, purses, and hats.
And even a pussy?
Cat. A pussy cat. Grab up Vern at You Have Me Hooked 23 on Etsy and You Have Me Hooked on TikTok.
What's up, guys? Sticky Stank Bud here, and you're tuned in live on 365 to WTHC Radio.
Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. If you need some kick-ass puppets, contact Thorge at 1-636-234-1535. He has all your puppet needs. He can fix puppets, build puppets, custom-made puppets. He has puppets off the rack for cheap prices. Contact Thorge today at 1-636-234-1535 or on TikTok or Facebook at Badger Heart Puppetry. He also makes LARPing items too.
Say bye-bye to bottled water. Holistic Health Water has certified medical-grade water ionizers that make 7 types of water, including healthy alkaline. There's a 5-micron filter that lasts up to a year, and each machine lasts 25 to 30 years. Simply attach to your faucet or install under your sink. Even get a mineral spot.
That was in only a minute and 30 seconds.
Go to ownyourwater.org to get a free ebook. Plus, pay for any machine in full and get an extra filter free. Change your water and change your life. Ownyourwater.org.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute.
Good morning, Christopher. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Your lunch will be ready in
If you have a question for me or for the doctor,
why don't you take a minute?
I prefer the doctor.
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you
My
can.
answers
making
probably
sure they're
will
safe
be wrong.
and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time.
You're learning a lot.
You're learning.
Information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance. Care for your own physical and mental well-being.
I feel like
and
the
manage
doctor over on
challenges
Discord
of
when
caring
I'm
for a
hanging
loved
out with my
Because
friends.
The better care you take of yourself,
They're asking me, I'm like, you gotta pay attention to the doctor. He told us this. You gotta do it this way. And we're gonna make it, and
Find
it's
free
gonna
care
be
guides to
cheaper.
support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving.
You have to see 3 doctors in 4 weeks.
By AARP and the Ad Council.
Well, I'm hoping they're working on you and getting it figured out, though.
And considering the state of healthcare here in our country, Marcel, thank God you have access to those doctors because it's so
I raised
difficult
my older sister to
to
a big
access a
oak
doctor in this
at
country.
least
It's
100
really
years
bad.
old. My mom said I must have set a record.
Is that because
or
it's
something.
free
And then I
healthcare?
went
So,
down by a
like,
stream and pushed up on
everybody
this
is everybody,
huge
like,
Well, you know,
there's not enough doctors to keep up with the amount of
And
people.
then I rescued my little brother from his
Doctors don't make the same kind of money in Canada they do in the
and
U.S.
my sister. I brought him back to our super
So
twin for
there's a
safety.
great demand for Canadian trained doctors and a great interest in them migrating to the U.S. because there's so much more money.
Yeah, we went to
My
the
doctor was
not that far away. Anyone want to come this
my daughter
weekend?
was considering becoming a psychiatrist at one
Ask
point.
your parents to take you and your friends
And
to the
we were
photo
talking about it, and I told her, I said, you want to work with kids, right? Underprivileged children and children whose parents have been to prison and things like that, right? Because she knew that herself.
This is Crazy
So,
Lori, and you're listening to WTHC with the Trippy Hippie and Dr. High. Don't panic, y'all. It's organic.
For 10 years.
WCHC, we're back. Dr. High's telling me a story. Don't stop, Dr. High. It's okay. I just had to
I
tell
was just
them.
going to say, I told her, I said, go to the States and practice for 10 years once you're a licensed doctor, make the money, then come back to Canada and you'll have the financial freedom to help kids and to forge your own path, right? So Yeah, I mean, it's hard here to keep a doctor. Some of the schools now, or some of the medical programs now, are mandating, especially if you need financial aid to complete your education. And for a doctor in Canada, it's about $250,000 to get your degree. They mandate now that you have to practice in the country, and sometimes in small communities, for a period of a few years, right, before you can actually migrate someplace else with your skills. So that's good. And the other problem is we have about 40,000 trained nurses and doctors in this country that don't have a license to practice because they've been trained in other countries. So instead of designing a standardized test that these people can sit to determine whether their credentials are good enough, it's simply because Health Canada can't verify their education in some of the countries that they're coming from, right? So they're not willing to license them here. So why not just design a test that these people can sit, and if because just put the required knowledge there, make them write the same test that Canadian doctors write, Canadian nurses write, as a final exam. And if they're able to get through that, then why shouldn't they be able to practice?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's the way I see it.
I say, yeah.
For sure.
Anyway, so
what do you need to know, Fableland? She says, Doc, I'm going to need help with the Etsy thing for digital files. What would you need help with? I'm not an expert, by the way, in Etsy. I'm just learning, but I have an idea.
She needs a lot of help.
Right.
She calls me.
Yeah, that's what you were saying before, eh, Marcel? Is there a course of treatment for that?
Yeah, he's got to drink Lori's water.
Oh, jeez.
A lot of Lori. Lori starts shipping water up to him. He needs water with a lot of iron in it.
That's funny.
She said her water is filled with iron.
Right. Yes, we were on the hemp topic.
Yeah, I had a guest on back in the day. Actually, two different hemp guests on, and we should have another one on, or I should contact them and have them back on again. They were wonderful. The one guy made pretzels out of hemp. They were hempsels. They were fantastic. And then the other guy, I don't remember. Oh yeah, no, he
made it from hemp flour, basically.
Look him up. It's called hempsels.
Right, but he was making it from hemp flour, right? So the ground seeds into flour.
I don't remember. That was like a year ago, bro. I can barely remember yesterday.
No. If it's saying, Fable, that you need to add shipping for digital pictures, that's not correct. Lori has done a couple of the digital downloads from the store, and there is no shipping involved in those. Just make sure that what you have clicked on is actually a digital download and not either the canvas or the prints, because there are all three options available there, but not for all images. So depending on the image, just verify that as an instant digital download. Oh, you're making a sale. Oh, I thought you were buying. Okay. So no, you don't need to add shipping for digital images. They're instant digital downloads.
What is she upselling your shit? She's like, yeah, I got it for $5. You can get it over here.
She probably has an Etsy store. It's just opening an Etsy store. So, that's most likely what's going on. But I'm really new to it myself, too. I got 30 days, if that, already with this store. So I'm still learning. But no, there is no shipping necessary. You're going to come to a section when you're creating the listing that asks you what kind of product you produced. It's a digital file. And there'll be another section that asks you who created it, when you created it, what is the product. And as soon as you switch to put it as a digital product, then the shipping should no longer be part of the questions, from what I remember. So, yeah. So back to hemp.
Back to hemp. I mean, I'm good. I mean, we talked about hemp for a while. If you want to go on to your next question on your chat.
Then we go from.
Is there THC for his blood disease?
I don't know. I can do a quick question here because I do have ChatGPT open. So let's just see if there's been any studies, Marcel, on your specific situation. So I'm going to type this into ChatGPT, and it will tell me whether there are studies or not. If there are studies that have been done, then I can go into the studies and do my research from there. That's generally how it works. So
that's why we're here to help you guys. So if you got a question, please feel free to write it in the chat.
Any studies?
I am going to walk away for a second and turn the air conditioner off because the little guy has actually gone inside to hide now. It's so cold in here.
Potential of cannabis for treatment of, what is it, severe microcytic, severe micro, CYTIC, microcytic anemia. All right, let's see what it says. All right. So it says there is limited clinical research specifically focusing on the use of cannabis for the treatment of severe microcytic anemia. Anemia is a condition characterized by a reduced number of red blood cells or decreased ability of these cells to carry oxygen. Myocytic anemia is a subtype of anemia involves smaller than normal red blood cells. Cannabis, specifically its cannabinoids like THC and CBD, have been explored for various medical conditions, including pain management, nausea, vomiting associated with chemotherapy, and some neurological disorders. However, the research in the context of anemia is relatively scarce. So, unfortunately, Marcel, it doesn't appear like I will be able to access any kind of research that could be beneficial for you. So my apologies for that, but if the studies aren't there, I really can't do much about it. But
I say you smoke weed anyway.
Well, see, that depends, right? Well, it could, because I don't know what kind of medications are involved for Marcel, but there is the potential drug interaction between some pharmaceuticals and cannabis. So this would be something that you would really have to discuss with a doctor. If cannabis was something that you wanted to include in your therapeutic regimen, yeah, that's really a doctor question.
You see how my feelings are on that.
Yeah.
Poppycock.
The last thing we'd want to do is advise Marcel.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, my doctors give me medicine like every time I go there. They're like, "Here, big guy, you need another pill. Here, big guy, we got to add this one to you here." They don't ever.
But your doctors are aware that you consume cannabis, so they should also be before giving you a prescription. They should be diligent enough to verify whether there's any potential drug interaction or not between the prescriptions and the cannabis.
You think so? I don't think so, but I'm not going to argue. I mean, they should be. You're 100% right. They should be, but I don't even think they take it into consideration. They're just like, yeah, here you go. Here's another pill.
They may not. They may not. I don't know. It's hard to say, right? I actually spent half an hour the other night listening to Sanjay Gupta.
THC? Oh.
Well, I listen to that every day, but
by the way, sir, I don't like that you're not listening in the afternoon. I go on in the afternoons now, 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Listen, by 4 o'clock, I've been on this computer for 12 hours.
And usually you can't have it on as ambiance.
Oh, by that time, I'm watching Netflix or something.
You and your porn.
No, that's not that on Netflix. But yeah, I just like to smoke a joint and chill and hang with my puppy and get some eating.
You know. Well, anyway, I want to thank everybody that's been in and out here. Oh no, we still got another hour. I'm just
Who's
kidding.
Ben Shapiro?
Ben Shapiro. I've heard of him. He's a politician or something, isn't he?
I don't know. I'm not familiar.
Ben
There is something about the name, but I just can't put my finger on it.
Well, it's good. Thank you for expressing your love for another man here on WTHC. We appreciate that.
We are a non-judgmental community, Marcel. You can express your love for anything you want,
We
as
love
long as you're of age.
We're happy that you're in love. Thank you.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Jeffrey's here. He's driving. All right. Good morning, Jeffrey. Be careful driving. No typing and driving, bro.
No.
Just chill.
Text to speech only.
Yeah. Just pay
Or
attention
speech
to the
to
road.
text, I should say. It's been a little backwards.
Anyway, so I was very disappointed to find out, now that we have a few other people here that may have been here yesterday, my plant is a weed. You're not working out.
Working out, Kelly. You're into the workout thing? You're an exerciser?
No. She just got back into it, and then she already took 4 days off this week.
Well, just remember, cannabis is good for recovery. I was reading an article this morning that said that that's one segment of the population that can find some great benefit in cannabis use, is in recovery from exercise and workouts and things like that. And I think that's why you're seeing like the NBA and some of these different major sporting leagues are starting to relax a little bit on their athletes as far as testing is concerned for cannabis. Because it's not performance enhancing in any way, but
I mean, if you're a member of the Seattle Supersonics and you live up in Seattle and it's a legal state, just because, I don't know. I feel like I would be pissed off too if I was allowed to smoke it. And I don't know. I don't, I don't think it's a performance enhancing drug.
No.
If anything slow me down, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, you want to play?"
There's evidence that it could aid in the recovery from concussions and stuff, which is really relevant when you come to the NFL. Hockey players suffer concussions quite frequently, and you know what I mean. So it's there's definitely some evidence to show that there's potential there.
Right.
You know.
That's
it's kind of funny, actually. There are many different ailments that we suffer as people that studies are showing that there's a lot of possibilities with cannabis for many different things. So super interesting to see how this will evolve over the next 20 years, which is probably what I got about left. So I'll be curious to watch. Dr. Phil's mom's using mushrooms.
Mom is on mushrooms by the looks of it.
Well, you're gonna see magic mushrooms come more into natural medicine too. I mean, there's the VA in the States, although they're telling their doctors not to prescribe cannabis to veterans, they are actually more open to studies with psychedelics and psilocybin for dealing with.
Today's episode on Dr. Phil is Moms on Mushrooms.
Oh, Moms on Mushrooms. Nice.
That should record that for us, Lori, and we'll watch it here tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not sure where Dr. Phil is. I haven't watched Dr. Phil in a long time. I did watch one that's about cannabis.
My feelings on that fool too.
Well, they toe the line, right? Like they don't go outside the box to truly explore. Like Sanjay Gupta, this guy's incredible from CNN.
I wanted to hear about that. You watched that series or that thing?
I watched the one episode about aging and seniors, and basically they had a doctor. He was interviewing another doctor that specialized in geriatric psychology or psychiatry. And he said there's really two ways that people age. They age either with grace or they age with despair, right? And there's a much higher percentage of the population that ages with despair than does with grace. right? And that's
Can I stop you for a second? Give me an example of despair, just so I know I don't have it.
Well,
like,
you know, when you start getting older, you start to think about the end. You know what I mean? Like even me in my 50s, I start thinking, 20 years, 25 years, that's going to be about it now, So you start thinking about it. And then, some of them age with regret because they haven't lived the life that they really wanted to live, haven't achieved their goals, maybe weren't the best parent, maybe whatever the case may be. So that brings in a bit of remorse and despair, right? Okay. And some seniors don't feel that way because they've had a fulfilling life, they've had great careers, they've raised a really good family. You know what I mean? So they really kind of fall into these two camps. And this doctor was saying that his own grandmother, at the end of her life, she was hospitalized for a fall. So she had had a fairly bad fall, and she had to be hospitalized for it. And as the doctors were going to draw her blood, she started to experience PTSD from the time that she spent in Auschwitz. She had been a survivor of the concentration camps in Europe during World War II. And she had actually had her blood drawn by Dr. Mengele. You know what I mean? Like she was actually really like in the worst of it as a young woman. And as she was undergoing this treatment, she started to, have some of the dementia and things like that. And she was having very serious issues with thinking that she was back in this time in the concentration camp. So they tried a couple of medications and they weren't able to go to get around it or to stop it. So they actually introduced cannabis into her treatment, and it removed that PTSD situation. It allowed her to not have to relive that for some reason. Not that she knew it, but it just kind of solved the problem. And he was saying that the reason he felt okay with it because he knew that his grandmother was at her end of life, right? So he didn't think that any harms that are perceived from cannabis could really do any damage at that point, because what does it matter anymore, right? You're at that path. Whatever gets you through the day is really what counts, right?
Quality of life.
Yeah, quality of life, 100%. And it's so true in the aging population. For somebody like me who's used cannabis for 45 years, the way it affects me now and the harms that it may have done to me over all these years of smoking it and, combined with all the rest of the stuff I've smoked and done in my life, I may not find, he was saying that a chronic cannabis user who's used it all their life will not experience the same benefits at the end of their life from the inclusion of cannabis in their lifestyle as will somebody who's never used cannabis and then starts to use it later in life when the perceived harms really don't have relevance any longer, right? Because they don't have 40 years in which to cause the damage to their lungs from smoking it or to cause whatever.
Right. And they don't have to worry about that. I don't get high anymore because I've been smoking all my life.
Yeah.
This is all going to be new. They're going to get that really good high. They're going to get that really good, feeling no matter what,
Yeah. So it was really interesting. They addressed why doctors don't prescribe it, and it's because they're not taught about it. So they don't have the confidence in its ability to perform because there's really not a lot of data that they can use to substantiate their decisions. And they take an oath to treat people the best that they can, and they don't want to use something that's misunderstood or that they misunderstand.
When I put my hand up like this, it's kind of a question, but I'm kind of scared.
Yeah.
It's more of a, I don't know, maybe I should ask this. And now I'm stoned and I forgot. Damn it. It was about, but I mean, oh yeah. All right. So it's about quality of life. So, I mean, like, I feel like if they all just went out and sat down and had like a big doctor party and they all just got high together and they all smoked a joint and they all just experience the quality of life and how much different it is when you have that feeling and you feel good and nothing's bothering you, they would be much more apt to prescribe it to people, especially at these people that are at the end of life. I mean, I don't understand how, if you know the shit is good and it makes you feel okay, it makes the pain go away for 20 minutes, a half hour, an hour, whatever it may be, that you should have that ability to have that, especially at the end of your life. It's
Absolutely.
it's mind-boggling. Even
That's
if
why
there's bad things about it, even if it's not going to do anything to kill them. It ain't going to kill them.
And that's why you have to advocate for your own treatment, right? You can't just rely on the doctor. You have to speak up for yourself. You have to say, listen, doctor, I have heard this is possible. I want to try. You have to.
I tried that.
Yourself, right? But
I tried to stand up for myself.
If you watch, I watched 6 hours of this on Netflix over the weekend. It's called Painkiller. It's a movie that's been done about OxyContin. There are things in there that talk about the method that they used to market OxyContin, and they wanted doctors on board because people trust doctors without second thought. They believe a doctor over anybody. If a doctor tells you something, then it's true. That's
I'm
it.
gonna make a statement right here. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us are doctors, right? Correct. I'm not really a doctor. I play one on TV, but I am not one. But you know what we do have? 85 years of fucking experience and knowledge in this field. We've been doing it for 85 years. None of these doctors. Huh?
That's pretty incredible when you put it that way. I never thought about that kind of number, but it's true.
I'm on 40, you're on 45. That's 85. That's 85 years of experience between us on smoking marijuana and ingesting marijuana in any form, I guess.
Yeah.
And some other drugs I'm going to throw in there.
So if I seem a bit slow when I'm talking about different topics,
right? Me too.
5 years I've been using marijuana. So,
right. And the only side effect I've had in the 45 years, I mean, besides a couple times getting angry because I couldn't find any, the only other side effect was that I have lost a couple brain cells that I'm not, but the pluses are, every day I got a smile on my face. Every day I can pretend that I'm happy. Even if I'm not happy, I smoke a joint, I'm happy for an hour. I smoke a bowl, I'm happy for an hour. I smoke another one, I'm happy for an hour. It gets me through my days, my pain. I smoke a bowl, the pain goes away for 30, 40 minutes. It starts to come back. I smoke another bowl. Quality of life.
That's what it's all about. That's really what matters, right? And it's our quality of life. That's why we have to step up with
That's what I was going to say before. I had to, I hate cutting you off, and I'm so sorry because you put your head down like I'm cutting you off, and I feel bad. I'm like, oh, he's disappointed.
I was just looking at this joint that I'm thinking about firing up.
Oh, but like when I went to the doctor to have my gallbladder, they wanted me to stay overnight. And I was like, do you have somebody who's going to push me outside every day, every couple hours and let me smoke my medicine? And they were like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I smoke marijuana. That's part of my medicine. That's my treatment. I take it every day. I take it numerous times a day. And if you're going to have me stay overnight, you got to have a place for me to go and smoke that. Yeah. And they were like, no, we don't have and I said, well, I know other hospitals that have a location for their medical marijuana patients, and they can go out and smoke their medical marijuana. You need to make that happen here. If you're going to have me staying here, I don't want to be here. And I went home. I didn't stay.
Yeah.
But I spoke my mind. I stood up for myself. I said, this is my medicine,
And I bet you that hospital has a smoking section someplace outside.
Oh, they definitely do. I walked past it on my way out. I said I could have went right there and smoked, but they didn't want to push me down there.
No. That's sad.
But federally, it's not legal here. So federally, I'm not allowed to stand on the hospital property and smoke marijuana.
But is the hospital a federal entity, or is it a state entity, or is it a private?
I don't know. It's St. Luke's. a big one. I don't know, St. Luke's.
Right, but that doesn't.
Heard of
I
them.
mean, they should only be concerned with
my well-being. Their job is to be concerned about my well-being, and if marijuana is going to make me feel better, they should be concerned about that.
What's Kelly doing to us? First, she tells us she's hot and sweaty, and then she tells us she's going to take a shower. She
likes to tease me. She likes to tease me.
And breathing on your neck for extended periods of time.
That day when she came up and she was sniffing my neck, it's been crazy ever since.
That's funny. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Like in Pennsylvania.
Fuck, here we go again. Look at the time, Dr. High. Every time.
17.
Yeah, we got to do it. I'm sorry. We got to do a commercial, and we'll be right back. You're hanging with the hippie and Dr. High. Oh, and we got a 420. So calligraphy with THC coming up as well.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I got to tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation. And it feels
technically,
good.
I could have gotten in trouble,
interesting.
for making a stink like that. They could have had security come and give me a hard time because
break down boundaries and
I'm not supposed to do it out in public. I don't think.
Medical
is my laws are in my house.
Life-changing conversations and find
vaporize
simple tools to start
only.
a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our
They
country
can't take
and your
that medicine
community
away from me,
together by
though.
having
That's
the
where the
courage to
fight
start
is.
A conversation at lovehaslolabels.com.
That's why I want them to come up with an IV drip.
A message from StoryCorps, Love Has
Right.
No Labels, and the Ad
You
Council.
can't do that though.
People do some pretty
figuring
cool
it out.
things
I've
in their
already
40s
started
and
my
50s.
research.
Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back
If I
to
could
college,
put it in water and then drink water,
learn new instruments.
You can.
Why
Start
can't I put it in my water?
Okay, maybe
and
that
put it
one's
in
not
my
for
blood?
everybody, but saving for retirement is. With
Here's
aceyourretirement.org,
my
you
feeling
can
on
get
those
track of
pills,
your
Curly Kel.
retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, a friendly digital retirement coach from AARP.
That or they should have suppositories for you.
Based on your input that are easy to understand
Well,
and work with your
exit
lifestyle.
only.
It's
We've
quick,
spoke about that
easy,
before.
and free. Plus,
But I
it's
guess if
sponsored
it was
by
a matter of
AARP,
me
so
getting
you
my
know they got your
medicine or
back.
not, I would have to take it.
Finally moved, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement
Nice.
savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Thank you, Lori.
Smith Jr., aka Billy Blaze, aka 420 Kid of the Holistic.
Happy
Cloud.
420 to the Netherlands and Raggy and all of our friends over not the Netherlands, damn it. The UK and Raggy and all of our friends over there across the pond.
Jack the Apostle, the lead. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Big buzz till little crumbs broke up in the bottom. Feel like autumn leaves falling. Only problem needs solving is seeing who I'm calling for some trees to indulge in. Need to holler at Billy. He keep his head in the cloud. Bel Air Kush by the bush. Wow. Screaming loud. Still smoking. Having nice dreams floating through space. So when they ask me how high, my reply, I'm half baked. Sir, smoke a lot. Doctor said I need a bacchiotomy. Prescribe me huckleberry and lemon cherry gelato, G. I take it back to rolling in the Optimo. Blowing smoke out my nose. Dropping ashes on my clothes till I doze off. I'm so fried, no lie. Got you afraid of heights, scared to look down. You so high. Cause when I spit that shit, it's like I lit that shit in the crowd. Pass it around and let you hit that shit. Weed is all I need. Smoke that weed. Weed is all I breathe. Smoke that leaf. Brought up in the leaf for my relief. I'm in love with THC. Roll that shit, lick that shit, burn it. 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 Lick that shit, burn it. Roll that shit, lick that shit, burn it. Roll that shit, lick that shit, burn it.
Got sunshine in my pocket on a Sunday stroll. Homie got the rap, give me the sack. let the good times roll. Therapy, earth, body, world, give me beef, Bel Air Kush, give me mental control. L lit back roll, 5 hats told, the studio we roll. Bring relief, we the music, all I need to know. Healthier than pill pop, mother give me herbs that fill spot. My medication can't do a kill shot. Ministries lay hands in stressful situations. Out of all the girls in my life, Mary Jane a reservation. Here at 23, raise your hands of liberation. I celebrate free from information. Stand up, provide the right education. Show love, holistic cloud, politics throughout the nation. Making us stop debating Billy Blunt, stash, flavor, taste the weed.
Weed is all I need, so that weed is all I breathe. Broke down leaves, brought up in the leaf for my relief. I'm in love with the THC. Roll that shit, lick that shit, burn it. 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 Roll that shit, lick that shit, burn it.
Say bye-bye to bottled water. Holistic Health Water has certified medical-grade water ionizers that make 7 types of water, including healthy alkaline. There's a 5-micron filter that lasts up to a year, and each machine lasts 25 to 30 years. Simply attach to your faucet or install under your sink. Even get a mineral spa unit for your shower. Go to ownyourwater.org to get a free ebook. Plus, pay for any machine in full and get an extra filter free. Change your water and change your life. Ownyourwater.org.
That seems to be
Ownyourwater.org.
Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. If you need some kick-ass puppets, contact Thorge at 1-636-234-1535. He has all your puppet needs. He can fix puppets, build puppets, custom-made puppets. He has puppets off the rack for cheap prices. Contact Thorge today at 1-636-234-1535 or on TikTok or Facebook at Badger Heart Puppetry. He also makes
buddy.
You're listening live to WTHC Radio on Live 365.
WTHC Radio, we're back. It's a hippie and my future Mrs. Hippie. Oh, Dave. I was like, I was introducing everybody to my future Mrs. Hippie. Welcome back, everybody.
That is a druid princess.
You sat right on her lap. I don't understand that, but I guess
because that's my property.
She's into you, I guess. I need one of them to sit over here so I can sit on there.
What if I sat on that poor girl, I'd crush her legs?
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're hanging out. Thank you so much, everybody over here on Facebook and YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, do all that crap they tell you to do. Big news, Dr. High. Big news. We're up to 84. What? We're up to 84.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We're up to 84 subscribers. Please, nobody unsubscribe. You're killing me every time you do that.
I think I'm still at 1.
I followed you yesterday. I found you and I followed you yesterday. So I think you're officially at 2. Yeah.
I don't even know how to find me.
That might have been on Instagram. I don't know. I can't.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I remember you sending something and I was like, oh my God, follow. I can follow him here. There he is. Follow him. And then it said you followed me back. And I was like, all right.
I actually beat TikTok. I beat TikTok this morning.
Oh, yeah.
The little that little alien video that I put up yesterday, a little WTHC one with the alien, they took it down for drug content.
That's they do that. Anytime you name WTHC, they hate me.
So I appealed it and I told them, I said, listen, I'm a cannabis educator. What I do is for the purposes of education. I'm not here pushing recreational use or the party or any of that sort of thing. I'm here to educate people because this is a changing world. And this is becoming a bigger part of society, and people need to understand what they're doing. And I see far worse content on TikTok than this, such as nudity and other things. So, you know, and then I ran out of characters. So I left it alone. And within 15 minutes, they got back to me and they said, your appeal has been approved and we've reinstated your content.
Yeah. They're jerks. I hate them. I'm pretty much done. Yeah, I'm pretty done. They're such jerks. We go over there and I play nursery rhymes now when we're on the radio.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
No, you know what it is it's you got to remember that TikTok is Chinese controlled, right? Where things aren't the same.
Well, I don't
know. Jeff, I love listening to WTHC radio too. I spend a lot of time listening to it.
Yes, you do. I see you up there in your little lakefront of property up there on the ocean.
Yeah, that would be nice.
You can throw a rock to that water. I don't care what you say, man. That water is very close.
Well, I might be living close to the water in Quebec. There's some places we're looking at that have waterfront views, so we shall see.
Nice.
I don't know. It's the dog that's a problem.
Put him down.
No, my daughter actually put me into.
Just kidding. I would never put him down. I was just kidding. It's all comedy purposes. I love the dog. Loki.
Oh, yeah, no.
I was just kidding.
I'd put a human down before I'd put that dog down, believe me.
I agree 100%. There's a lot of humans that need to go down before dogs need to go down. Yeah, I agree 100%. It was all comedy purposes. I love dogs. I love all
I don't know. Kelly's always getting us into these salacious situations.
She likes to flirt.
What you need to understand, Kelly, is when you say something, people have to envision it, right? Most people are visual, so they have to see what you're talking
about.
I
immediately see you naked. I immediately visualize you naked, putting clothes on.
And Hippie's a dog. You know what I mean? You got to watch. You inspire him. I sent him a little video this morning, and I'm concerned about, where he's going to be watching it.
My robe is already sticky.
I also sent instructions on how to remove the ribbon.
Oh, really? Oh, I got to get into that. I got to go watch that video. I'll be back, you guys.
It was designed to force you to learn how to use technology.
So now I got to fucking learn how to. So I shouldn't do it on the phone then. I should do it here on the computer.
You got to do it in Canva.
Oh, goodness.
You have to learn how to use it. If you want to see the essence.
Oh, fuck. It's like a puzzle. You got me in an escape room. I can't get out. I can't see the titties unless I figure it out.
Now Curly Keller sent us to googly eyes.
Where's a good place to eat? In West Virginia, go to your local Cracker Barrel, I guess.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm excited about going back to Quebec. They have the best food there. I'll be very happy to be back to eating in those restaurants. Me and my daughter had a good conversation about that last night. Can't wait to get back to good old Quebec food.
Do they have that French cuisine there?
The whole thing is that in Montreal, you have so many communities that are represented, and the people that run the restaurants are members of the community of the types of food that they're producing. So you're getting authentic cuisine. Not like when I lived in Edmonton, doesn't matter what kind of food you went to go eat, it was mostly prepared by people from the Philippines, because the restaurant industry has a really high proportion of Filipino people who work in food service. Here in Belleville, it is people from East India. So people from India who are predominantly working in the fast food restaurants and in the food restaurants. So they are preparing cuisine that's really not native to their culture. Right, so they might use the recipes that would be traditional, but there's
they might put mustard on a hamburger?
Yeah, you never know. But the whole thing is, the beauty of Montreal is that the restaurants are run by people who are native to the culture of the food that's being served. So you get the best. And I've got a list of about 30 in my head already that I want to eat at the first day.
My freaking McDonald's puts mustard on our cheeseburgers. I hate that. Oh
yeah? See, I always order a cheeseburger without mustard because the cheeseburger is for my dog. I always get a cheeseburger for him from McDonald's to bring home.
Anyway, we got about 30 minutes left or more, depending on what you got going on today. But let's get another topic going. What do you want to talk about?
Hold on, let's see.
I have topics up here still.
Any interesting ones?
This one's a video I can play real quick. It's pretty much a repeat of a video, something we talked about earlier in the month.
Well, let's see what it has to say.
Let me just figure out how to fucking do this again. There it is. Okay. Share screen. There we go. Share. Hit play. Make sure the volume's up. All right, here we go. Oh, make sure the volume. Doesn't look like they're talking.
Is that
So yeah, that was that. I mean, it was basically the same. I really didn't read it because I was looking at the pretty pictures.
Well, that's exactly why I got into the dispensary, because you see the projected growth over the next 10 years. The growth in the cannabis industry is going to be huge over the next 10 to 15 years.
That's what I hear. That's why I think I bought a radio station with the name.
Well, I mean, and this is why we're in the right place at the right time, because people are going to need what we can give them moving forward.
85 years of knowledge. I like that. 85 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
we're old.
You know, like we're just at the right time to be able to really have an impact and help people understand the process, right, of cannabis consumption, purchasing, making your own preparations, doing everything that's necessary to, keep more money in your pocket and achieve the same results. That's what it's, for me anyway.
Very exciting. Me too, man. I said this is an up and coming field, and I know that it's going to boom. It's only just begun, and when we went looking for the radio station names, we came up with weed first because they have West Coast and East Coast. You have to be a K or a W. Yeah. I'm on the East Coast, so I have to be a W. So I was like, W. Let me think of something that goes with W. Oh, EED, yeah, EED, weed, and it was available, and I was like, yes, let me buy it.
Did you see that house explode in Pennsylvania yesterday?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I heard about that shit. Holy Christ!
It made me wonder if those guys were making shatter.
I don't know, but all I know is 5 people dead, including a small baby.
It was an incredibly huge explosion.
I heard it. I was listening to the news on my radio.
Yeah.
And I heard they were like, "Be careful! That we want to warn you. This is going to be, and all of a sudden you heard boom, boom, and it was like, holy shit!
What's beep beep cheech, Fable?
Beep beep cheech.
Yeah. I'm curious. Beep beep cheech.
Oh, is that the picture you drew of me? Or the picture? Yeah, you can. I don't care. Is somebody interested in it? Beep beep cheech. You got to remind me what it is. I hope I'm not nude.
Well, in all your Ken doll splendor.
Yeah.
But that's
I
big
resemble
topic.
that remark.
The slow bus I made while bored in Discord.
Yes, I remember now. Yes, you can sell it. Yep, sell it. Sell.
So you're an artist, Fableland?
Yeah, she does a lot of painting and stuff.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Hey, if you ever feel
she's an interesting witch.
If you ever feel the motivation to take some of Dr. High imagery and turn that into an actual painting, that would be pretty cool. It'd be very cool. Yeah, Etsy's a lot about the handmade, right? It's a 3D printable. Oh, so it's for a 3D printer. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, the bus? Even cooler.
The printer that I used to make my business cards, when I went to go see him, he had a couple of 3D printers on the go, and he was 3D printing snowmobiles, remote control snowmobiles. And it was really incredible what that printer could make. Yeah. I was like really amazed by it. There's something else. And these printers now are able to print like skin for burn victims. They're able to
chicken.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing some pretty crazy stuff. So that's very cool. Very cool to be able to do that. You must have some technical skills.
Oh yeah, she's technical, all right.
Yeah. That's super interesting, though.
Anyway,
and I don't see a lot of people selling 3D printable stuff on there. You know what I mean? Like that would probably be a pretty good business. I mean, I don't know how many people have the money to buy 3D printers because I don't think they're cheap. But yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. So let's find a top.
I got one more story up here.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
Sorry, different. My apologies. I was wrong.
Different. It was a different story.
It was a repeat of the other story.
Oh, okay.
About smoke inhalation. So now I'm out of stories. Yes.
Some of these questions are a little bit simple, but
yeah, but I can make them difficult.
Well, here we go.
You know me.
Legal and social issues. What are the arguments for and against cannabis legalization?
How about this? What are your recommendations if you were going through a divorce and you were a cannabis smoker?
As far as it pertains to what?
Go back to your question. Forget it.
Well, I'm just trying to think, like, how is it pertinent? It could be pertinent if you have children involved.
Children involved and things like that. I mean, there's just, you have to worry about these states now and what your rules are. Every state's rules are different. And like we were talking about with my medicine at the hospital, it's just different. And like now my kids are old enough, so I don't have to worry about it. So, I don't have to worry about it.
It'll probably stay different too. Even if you get legalization at the federal level, some states may want to still control the industry, right? Because you're going to have certain states that are bigger in the pharma industry. You're going to have certain states that are in industries that can be affected. And, you may find that regulation is different in some states,
Right. Yeah. And that's basically where I was going. But then I answered my own question because basically every state is different. And I guess, you have to know your own laws in your own states for, if it's recreational and now a divorce is going down and the husband holds it against the wife that she smokes weed, I don't want her to lose her kids because she smokes weed, that's not right.
This is the potential in some places, right? To say that, Cannabis is not a good environment for a child to be in. But it's really not about that. It's about responsible parenting. Like, you know what I mean? If your kid's 5 or 6 years old playing with his toys in the living room, then perhaps you shouldn't be smoking a joint right in the living room. Perhaps you should step out onto the porch, right? It's just about being a responsible parent. I mean, if you're using edibles, then you should not leave them anywhere that could be accessible to a young person, right? You just have to be responsible. And it's really simple. Like you don't leave vodka, you don't leave a glass of vodka sitting on the table with your kid running around. You know what I mean? Or a knife. So it's just common sense, like anything else.
Yes, but I don't know if you've noticed, not everybody has common sense out there.
Many people don't.
Especially like when we're talking about houses that blow up in Pittsburgh. They haven't come out and said it was a meth lab.
No,
no,
and it may not be. It could have simply been a natural gas leak.
I've actually heard stories about they've had 2 other issues with gas leaks in that area in the last few years. So
I mean, wasn't there a whole neighborhood 8 or 10 years ago that blew up like that? A whole neighborhood someplace in the States. I don't remember where it was, but
I remember it, but I don't know
where.
He
had a gas line that ruptured, and I mean, a whole community was devastated by that. So
just imagine.
Yeah, I mean, people are supposed to have certain qualifications to work on that sort of thing. But let's say that your gas guy is in the middle of getting a divorce and he's distracted while he's doing your pipe work.
Or he's in jail crying in the corner over there because he's getting divorced.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of things can be just chalked up to human error, and humans are just humans. Shit happens. Right. You know what I mean? But we don't know what the cause of that is. It'll come out some point in the future, I'm sure, and then we'll have a better idea. My friend at CPS said to treat pot like most places treat cigarettes. But since it's not 100% here, just don't smoke it in the same room as them.
Douglas, good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Doug. Yeah, that's totally logical, right? That you should not expose your children to something they're too young to understand. And there'll come a point, you really should talk to your kids when they become young teenagers, because they're going to encounter it through their social relationships at school, through their friends. At some point, they're going to come into contact. And it's good to educate them, not to hide necessarily what it is, but just to teach them about being responsible themselves.
Yeah, I did that. I did that a lot. When my kids were old enough, I felt that they were old enough and mature enough to understand what was going on the show. We used to sit down and we would watch Intervention all the time.
Yeah.
And I would be like, this is what this is what crack is. This is what heroin is. This is what, and they didn't have an intervention about weed, so I didn't really have to explain anything to them.
Yeah, I've never seen a cannabis intervention.
Stoner Chick, good morning.
Good morning, Stoner Chick. How's it going? Yeah, just so you have to have government input. Yeah, because the government wants to be in every aspect of your life. They want to put their nose where it doesn't belong too frequently,
Right. Like when my kids were old enough and I got my card, I finally made the admission to them 5 or 6 years ago that, that I have a medicine card and it gives me the right to smoke medical marijuana. And then they were like, oh, we've been smoking that for months. And I was like, oh, I know. My bags have been getting shorter and shorter every time I turn around.
It is medicine, but it's also a fairly safe form of recreational escape too. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a two-pronged plant, really. You know what I mean? It has a lot of medical benefit, but it's also far safer than any other mind-altering substance you can indulge in. Safer than caffeine, safer than nicotine.
Definitely safer than alcohol.
So, you know what I mean? So many things that cannabis...
I like alcohol. I enjoyed my days of alcoholism. I had a lot of days of alcoholism. Yes, I was a very I was a very thirsty teen for most of through my 16, 17. I really started drinking, and all the way up until my 30s. And then I gave it up. I still drink occasionally, like if I go to a wedding or something. But like I said, I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. So if I drink, I go to get drunk, not to go sit and have a couple sips of a drink. I don't, I'm not interested in that. I don't like the taste of it enough for me to sit there and enjoy it. I'd rather smoke a joint, and that's how my life went. I enjoy the taste of a joint. I don't enjoy the taste of wine.
See, I've always been. If all my life, if I would have had to choose between one or the other, it would have been weed for me always. Like there was never a point in time that I felt that alcohol was a more pleasant part of my existence than cannabis.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go, and that's where I was heading with that story. Was all those years of drinking. I mean, I had some great times. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed myself.
There were some fun moments, right?
Oh my God. But weed was always involved as well. I was already smoking weed before I started drinking. I didn't drink until I was like 16. I was smoking weed at 13. So then I started drinking at 16, then I was drinking heavily through my 20s, and now I think about it now, and I'm like, I enjoyed myself, but everything was so dangerous. Everything was a risk. Every night it was a chance of me getting into a fight because of my mouth, because I don't know how to shut up, and I like to talk, and I call people names when I'm not supposed to, and so, it's all joking with me, but some people don't always take it as a joke and they get angry when you're drunk. So I had to stop doing that, and I can't control myself with that. So, just drinking overall just didn't, I enjoyed it at that time, but now I sit back and I'm so happy that I've made the switch over to no alcohol. I mean, when I want to, but I don't ever really want to anymore. And I enjoy being able to smoke. And I've been rolling joints a bunch lately the last couple days here, and I'm really enjoying sitting and smoking a joint. But like I said, I smoked the whole fucking thing. I can't put it down because I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. So I'm like wasting weed because I'm already high halfway through, but I still smoke the whole fucking thing. So we got to work on that. But besides,
if I light a joint, I finish the joint. I'm the same way when it comes to a joint. If I light it, I finish it. It's very rare that I'll put it out.
It's a one-person serving, as far as I was concerned.
My wife's the different, right? My wife will smoke half a joint, put it out, and smoke the other half later. But if it's a joint, I smoke it. That's it. That's all.
I've been trying to, I'll smoke half, a little more, maybe 3/4, and then I'll put it up in the tray up here, and I'll forget about it for like 20 minutes, and then I'll be like, let me smoke that, finish that up, and smoke a couple more hits off of it later, and top me off a little bit, and I'm good.
That's a good choice, Doug. I agree with choices like that.
But I feel as though since I started using the papers, my cough has been bothering me again. And I'm like, I wonder if it's from the papers.
Maybe. Because if you're coughing worse from the joint than you do from a bong hit, then
I gave up on the bong hits.
Okay.
I've been smoking bowls. I don't know.
Okay. Well, same idea, right?
Yeah, same idea, except for not as safe.
Yeah.
Tasha, how are you?
Yeah.
Not quite sure you're calling why we're being called psychos. Good morning.
Hello, psychos.
I'm not quite
I'm the
sure.
psycho. It's in your head.
It's in your head. In your head. Everything's in my head.
That's somebody who I thought was weird that OD'd.
Yeah.
From the cranberries. I never expected that to be her cause of death. Yeah. Too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad. Not a good thing. Anybody got any questions out there? Anything you want to know? Any curiosities? Do you want to know how we became psychos, Tasha? So,
I got to run a commercial. It looks like, right? It's been a while.
Yeah, and I'm just looking here. We covered a lot of these topics already today, just in conversation.
Did we?
Yeah, quite a few.
I told you, you can just start a conversation, and I'll be able to make up stuff. You know, I've always got questions. I don't know nearly as you.
Today's been kind of a really good show because it's been very much on cannabis, right? Like it's really been very centered on that topic, and that's the way we love these shows. You know what I mean? This is really what is beneficial. If we can keep always on this line, we'll be great. Seeds. Speaking of seeds, I messaged a little bit this morning with Kim Axtell. Do you recognize that name at all from any of the groups that you're in? Kim runs a group called the Legit Bean Society, and she is really diligent.
Legit Bean Society.
Yeah, she's really diligent about weeding out the good and the bad on Facebook as far as seed sellers are concerned. So I asked Kim if she would come and spend some time with us and discuss her process, who can be trusted, who can't be trusted, all this sort of thing, right? This is what information that we would like. And for any of you who are interested in beans, the Legit Bean Society is a great group to join because you'll find tons of stuff there for that specifically. And she's no nonsense when it comes to the people that she allows to interact inside that group, right? So if they're in that group, you can feel pretty confident.
She say yes? Did she say yes? Did she say yes?
She said sure.
Oh, thank God. You have me sitting here on pins and needles. I'm like, and you go off onto a tangent about beans. I'm like, tell me if she said yes.
Well, I've messaged back and forth with Kim numerous times. And I know that she does now and again go live and do things. So I'm just waiting for her to kind of give me a time that works for her. You know?
Awesome. I'm also working on a glass blower. I think that I have another glass blower. Our friend International Dirt Dogs, Jacob, or Sticky Stank Bud.
Glass is interesting.
He has a buddy who does glass blowing, and we're working on trying to get him to come on the show. So we'll have a glass blower here coming up in the near future, hopefully. We're going to do a show and show us how glass blowing is done and do a little piece for us.
Yeah, I also sent Galaxy 420 a message this morning for tomorrow, but I have not received a response yet.
Okay.
But they said that they were interested when I spoke to them, so I don't know where they are, what they're doing.
Yeah, and then who was it yesterday? Phoenix Seeds or whatever it was. What was the name of the seed company?
Oh, King Solomon, or
yeah,
Solomon Lines or something like that.
Yeah, they didn't really reach out to me. I hope they reach out to us. I really wanted to talk to them. I was hoping for a little message or something. So if you're out there listening, we're looking forward to talking to you, King Solomon. Anyway,
do you have any questions, Tasha?
Let me do a commercial while you talk to Tasha. We'll be right back.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just. Hey, Dad,
time you gotta
your
go?
laundry will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, Dad, you gotta go.
Your lunch will be ready.
12:15 or so.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tina.
All right, Tina, much love.
Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I have tried THC drops, yes.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend.
Oh, I think
Jill?
Kelly's
I
a helper. She's suggesting THC drops to somebody.
Years old. My mom
Tasha.
said I must have set a record or something.
Oh, yes.
And then we went down
Might
by
be
a
perfect
stream
for
and pushed
Tasha.
up on this
Kelly got very
huge
stoned off of
rock
them.
and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued
She'll
my
get
little
them
brother
and
from an
ship them
evil
to you.
slug king
Yes.
who was
I've
fighting
come
on
to
the
figure that out, Kelly.
my sister, and I brought him back to our super twig for safety. And then we all laid out
I'm just a little slow. 45 years of indulgence has
all the way home.
maybe a
Dr.
little slow.
High, I'm going to ask you to stick around for a second after the show in here. I need to talk to you for a second.
Ask your parents to take you and
I
your
don't
friends to the
remember
forest
why,
this
though.
week
I just
and
thought of
find a
it, and
fun
now I
adventure
forgot
to
already.
see.
So
It's closer than
Write
you
it
think.
down.
Check out
might be gone
discovertheforest.org.
now.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. If you need some kick-ass puppets, contact Forge at 1-636-234-1535. He has all your puppet needs. He can fix puppets, build puppets, custom-made puppets. He has puppets off the rack.
Absolutely, Cash. We'll talk about it as soon as this commercial's over.
Forge today. Yeah, we got one more commercial real quick and we'll be done. 234-1535. We're on TikTok or Facebook at Badger Heart Puppetry. He also makes LARP.
Looks like you're in for a beating.
Say bye-bye to bottled water. Holistic Health Water has certified medical-grade water ionizers that make 7 types of water, including healthy alkaline. There's a 5-micron filter that
I don't even
lasts
know
up
there
to
is a
year, and
forest
each
in
machine
West
lasts
Virginia,
25
is
to
there?
30 years. Simply attach
forest,
it to
no.
your faucet or install under your sink.
I never been there.
You can get
We go around
shower.
it when we go down there. They're like, just go around West Virginia. You don't want to get yourself caught up in that area.
And get an extra
Isn't that where the Hatfields and the McCoys come from?
change your life.
Probably.
Water.org.
WTHC. Good morning, everybody. 11:58. So it's still technically morning here. Thank you everybody for being here. We're hanging out with Dr. High. We had a couple questions come in while the commercial was going. Dr. High, take it away.
So, Tasha, you said that you're struggling with
Sit up a little
smoking.
closer. Sit up a little closer. Your microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So you're saying that smoking the flower is bothering your asthma. Asthma actually was one of the first things. Back in the early 80s, University of Michigan discovered that cannabis could be beneficial for asthma because of its bronchial dilation properties. It relaxes the bronchi and allows the transfer of oxygen better. So asthma and cannabis kind of work well together, but it's the smoking of the flower that seems to be a problem for you. And that would simply probably be because you're consuming plant material, right? You're combusting the leaf itself, which would be the equivalent to smoking cigarettes. I would think that a vaporizer would suit you well. If you switch to a dry herb vaporizer, then you still get the action of the inhalation. You still get that throat feel. And I understand because I smoked for many, many, many years. I only just quit in January. So I understand the sensation that you're looking for and the reasons that you continue to smoke. But with a vaporizer, you still get some of that action, right? You get the hand to mouth, you get that hit in the back of your throat through the inhalation when you exhale. So that could be satisfying for you and also be less harmful for your lungs and allow you easier consume the cannabis and receive the benefit without the negative complications.
Let's stop for a second there and ask Tasha, where are you located, Tasha? What part of the world?
I don't know. I'm frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen, but I can hear you. Oh, you're back.
There we go. There we go. Just had to do a little wiggle.
Know, like where Tasha is, so we can figure out like if she has a dispensary or because if she's getting carts, she might be just getting carts off of somebody, that schmo off the street who's selling shit, and that could be bothering your throat and making it worse. Southern Ohio. Oh, I'm going to Ohio in just a little while to go see the Muck Sticky concert. Not today.
No, if you want.
All right, so she has medical, so she can go into a dispensary. That's good.
Yep.
So we can help you. Absolutely. Dr. Hyde, take it away.
What do you mean by chemical crap? You're talking about what's in the plant itself, or
that's when I thought she was talking about like the carts and the wax, that they were chemical crap.
Right. Well, I'm talking about vape and flower. I'm not talking about going to concentrates. I'm talking about vaping flower. And Thursday or Friday this week, I'm going to be publishing an article on what I consider to be the 5 best medical cannabis vaporizers on the market. All products which I've sold a lot of, dry herb. But some of them are dual purpose too. They'll come with concentrate pads or the ability to do both dry and concentrate. But
so Tasha,
more on the dry.
Yeah. So Tasha, yeah. THC, have you ever tried dry vaporizing it? Dry herb vaporizing? You take your flower, you break it up just like you're breaking up for a bowl, you put it in this vaporizer thing, and it's just like smoking a bowl or a thing, but it just lights up and heats up and burns the weed a weird way and makes it smell weird. I mean, taste weird.
For the most part, they're discreet, they're portable. I do have the Volcano in there because ultimately the Volcano from Stores and Bickle is the best product in the category, bar none. Whether it be a handheld Mighty or Crafty or the tabletop Volcano, this is the best vaporizer on the market, in my opinion.
Does that have dual abilities?
It does. It does. But you have to buy the additional. You have to buy the additional concentrate package or get the hybrid, the Volcano hybrid, which comes with the ability to do both right as part of the package. But it requires a concentrate pad, which is like a circular puck type Brillo pad.
You can tell me about that later. Get back to Tasha because she's never heard of a dry herb vaporizer. So it's kind of like one of these pens. Where's my thing? You know, like one of these, but bigger and kind of thicker. It kind of looks like one of those dab ones that you've seen. I'm sure you've seen the Yokan dab where you put the dabs in there. But it's a dry herb vaporizer. The one he's talking about, I've never seen, but he's going to be putting out a list of 5, the top 5 of them.
Yeah, it's a blog post that I've already completed, but I haven't posted it yet. But it actually has pictures of the devices that I'm discussing for each section.
Looking forward to seeing it. How much is that big one you were just talking about? Is it an expensive
one? They're going to run in price anywhere from, let's say, $700.
I didn't hear the first half. You froze. What was the first half?
Anywhere from about $100 up to about $700.
$5. $100. Good Lord. All right, yeah, but you want quality. This is shit that's going inside you. This is shit. You always gotta freeze it.
The thing is, when you use a vaporizer, Patch, when you use a vaporizer, you no longer cost any plant material. What you're doing is you're just heating the material to a temperature at which all the beneficial compounds, all the cannabinoids, become a vapor. So basically, you start off, you put your cannabis in, it's the color of normal cannabis, it's green, it's whatever it is, purple. By the time you're finished that dose, it now has the same brown as tobacco. And then it's garbage.
Very freaky. I've been doing my best to bite my tongue here because you know how I feel. But it's very freaky. You do get a high. You definitely get high. You know, just like regular smoking weed. But when you're done, I have a very hard time dumping out stuff that still looks like weed and it's just brown and weird looking. It looks like tobacco. Yeah, it kind of looks like tobacco leaves.
That's
but it's garbage there, right?
That's what I would recommend for you, Tasha, would be to experiment with vaporizing, dry herb vaporizer. Much easier on your lungs. You get the full effect and you bypass taking into your body something that's absolutely useless, which is the combusted plant material. Because once you've taken the beneficials from there, the plant material itself has no value to you. Does you no benefit at all.
And I'm going to say Dr. High was talking about one of the best, if not the best, bar none, I think he said, was $100 to $800 or something like that. you can get them cheaper. There are cheaper ones out there. Yocan makes some that are, decent. They'll get you through. But if you're going to go and you want to go, save your money and you got the time, save your money or whatever and spend it. Eventually get yourself the better one because, of course, you want to put this is stuff you're ingesting. The better the quality of the product, the better chances you're not going to be getting any of that bad stuff that you don't want.
See, now a product like Yocan is much better for concentrate than it is for dry herb.
Oh, I agree 100%. But my Yocan dry herb sucked. I hated it.
Yeah, it's because of the coils, right? The way that the coils are designed. Inside of Yocan, they have a metal coil like inside a light bulb.
Yeah, it was like a wire.
One side the other. Yeah, it's the wire. And although they wrap it in quartz, it can still lead to minor combustion. So when you're talking about a good quality vaporizer, you want one that has a ceramic chamber or a stainless steel chamber. That way it's heated by convection. And that's how you get the vapor from there with no potential for combustion, which you do have with the Yocan. There are cheaper products on the market. So the article that I've written isn't looking for the cheapest option on the market. It's looking at the 5 best products that are out there, in my opinion. And I do have an opinion on this because I sold these products on a wholesale level to stores that sold them to the retail customers. I've had the opportunity to use each and every one of them. So I'm very familiar with those products, and I would never recommend something that I, number one, didn't know or haven't used. So that would be what? Sorry for what?
For recommending Yocan. I'm sorry.
No, Yocan is a good product, but it's a good product for concentrates. It's not the best product.
I shouldn't have went ahead of your little list. I didn't recognize that Yocan wasn't on. I just thought, some people can't afford to go out and buy $100,
There are products like the Utilian, and maybe what I'll do is a subsequent article on the most affordable.
Affordable that can do a decent job to get you through.
Yeah,
so you can
exactly, because there is a range. Yeah, there is a range of products, and there are products like
and I don't
does a very good vaporizer.
Right. And I know you were in this field and you probably know better than I do, but I worked in this field somewhat as well, or I lived in this field for a year or two where I watched it happen every day. When you walk in there and you come in with no knowledge, they're going to sell you the smallest piece of shit right off the bat. And then you're going to be back in 2 weeks complaining about it. Then they're going to sell you the next one. And then they're going to sell you the next one until you finally come back and say, give me the fucking one that's going to fucking work.
Yeah.
And then you're going to end up spending your $200. But meanwhile, they got you for the $90 one, the $75 one, and the $30 one beforehand, because by the time you finally realize that the best one is the one you want, so take that into consideration.
That's the joy of what we do here. Because before you go out and make these purchases, we encourage you to come here and discuss your thoughts with us so that I can help you find a product that matches your budget and will be effective for you. And that's the most important thing. Affordability and effectiveness. Effectiveness number one, affordability number two, but sometimes they come hand. And there are some devices that you can get out there. Like we used to have the utility dry herb vapes that I used to sell, and they were retail about $100 Canadian. So right away, just in the exchange, that probably knocks you down to around 65 or 70 US. You might be able to avoid there. So things to look at, right? Now, Mr. Slow, can you smoke dab like a joint? You can smoke dabs in a joint, but you can't smoke it like a joint. So you can put your concentrates in with your dry flower and roll a joint and enjoy the concentrate that way. But you won't be able to just roll a joint of shatter or rosin or any other concentrate and expect that it's going to burn properly. Most likely you'll get a flame that'll burn and then the oil will sputter and fall out. So if you do want to smoke concentrate in a joint, dabs, then you have to have dry herb and you need to mix the two together. And my suggestion would be the same like we did with hash the other day. You put half of your weed in the bottom of the joint. You then put your concentrate on top. And then you put the other half of your weed in the joint and then roll it. Try to keep your concentrate as close to the center of the heat as possible so that you get an even burn. It doesn't run on you and you enjoy all the benefit. But dabs in a joint are beautiful. A beautiful thing. Done it many times. So, wow, that's really tough. Sorry to hear that, Tasha. That's really it's a shitty situation to be in.
Yeah.
None of us would want to be there.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. But barring that, then you know, you may want to look at edibles like Kelly was talking about. You know, a nano-emulsified edible because that
They last longer,
and you avoid the cost of having to buy the device, right? It does. I can tell you. I can tell you for sure, Tash. I've been up and down in this life. I've been a millionaire and I've been on welfare. I've been all over the place. I know.
we have a single guy from Britain who's looking for a wife to come to America. We could probably hook you up with. He's a hardworking guy. How old are you?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Mr. Slow. You got to give it a shot. And I think
No,
that
you're not, Raggy. You're not. You're buying a cart, you dipshit. You're not buying no dabs. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know what you have access to in the UK. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's there, but you probably have to be somehow in the community of people who are cultivating and extracting to find it. Because I know it's still quite frowned upon over there. So unfortunate, but maybe it's simple for you to take a little
it's like when we talk about this stuff, like, you know, when I'm hinting towards this stuff, like, I'm not picking on him or anything in any way, but, you know, like, he's the one I'm concerned about because he's going out to that shady dude on the street, you know, and you don't know what dabs look like and you don't know what carts are. And, you know,
oh, it's a pleasure, Tash. Anytime you have any questions or anything you want to discuss, we're here. We love this sort of thing. It's what I wake up every day to do. You know, not to come on this show specifically. This is a part of my day, but it's to educate and bring cannabis knowledge to the people out there that need it. That's really my passion.
And help in any way from Tasha. We can help you. You know, we can get you we can find out where we can get some seeds, and you're able to grow in Ohio. We can help you grow, and then you'll have your own. I mean, and then, you know, we're trying to get away from flour, aren't we? Yeah. We're not going to go any further than that, I guess.
Yeah, because, you know, for a very long time, the U.S. has been studying cannabis for a long time. The University of Mississippi, the only place federally legal to cultivate, produce marijuana, and test it. But the problem is that the really only negative consequence that they were finding was the irritation of the upper respiratory tract, or what makes you cough. So a lot of the government funding only went to studies that exemplified that particular negative, right? So that they could publish these studies to
Nancy could tell us it was bad.
Yeah, exactly. So that the studies that were coming out were showing negative consequence and not positive. And when they did do studies that showed positive outcome, when those studies were released, they'd release it at like 11:59 on New Year's Eve, right? When no media outlet, when nobody was paying attention, they would release these studies at times like that so that they didn't get the same media coverage as somebody releasing it in time for the 6 o'clock news, right? The sensationalism of it. And as we all know, there are millions of great stories happening every day across Canada, the United States, and the rest of the world. So why is it that the news outlets are so focused on the bad stuff? Why do they not do 1 hour of good stories every day, positive stories, impactful stories? Why
we're going to do
on the negative? Why is it always focusing on the bad? Because
that's our next show.
Here think that they require a government to keep them safe. So the government wants you in fear. That's why after 9/11, you'd have that fear register all the time. Today's condition is yellow. Today's condition is red. Terrorist threats are in the air today. Be concerned. Why would you do that to your population? Why would you always want to ramp up anxiety and keep them in fear? It's because how do the mafia control people? How do the bikers control people? They control them through fear, right? Fear of hurt, of damage, of death, of whatever. So fear is what controls, not positivity. So this is why.
Why we have to be positive.
Yeah.
Positive fights fear.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that fights fear.
Yeah.
Tasha.
And Mr. Slow, so right on that.
That's horrible.
Somebody looks at makes me feel bad.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Don't ever feel guilty for getting your meds. Fuck people, Tasha. You need what you need. You need what you need, and there should be no stigma or negative feelings attached to your requirements or your situation in life, because as we all know, we don't necessarily have 100% of control over what happens to us. You know, like we live on a razor's edge. Even here, my wife and I were talking about yesterday because we're about to move to Quebec, and if one thing goes wrong, we're in a bad situation, right? Because we don't have the financial resources to cover that. So, you know, the car breaks down, transmission goes, whatever it is, we're fucked. So believe me, I understand what it's like to live on the edge. Fortunately, we have a roof over our heads, but I mean, any of us can lose that sort of thing very, very quickly. It just doesn't.
You don't even know what I've been through in the last 2 years. My God.
So don't ever feel guilty or bad for doing what you have to do for you.
We barely have a roof over our head.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
fighting
we
every
all live
day.
on the edge, right? None of us are independently wealthy at all. Like Hippie and I were joking about yesterday. I made $14 this month.
I'd like to think
Thanks
I am.
to Lori, I might have made 18 now. But I don't know. You know what I mean?
You're so sweet. Hooking him up.
She's such a great supporter, man, and I appreciate it more than I can even, you know.
She's wonderful. She doesn't just support you; she supports me. She supports everybody.
Yeah.
Like even anybody like comes on and they're selling something. She's like, "Let me see it. I want to see it," and she'll be like, "I'll buy that." She's awesome. She's awesome. She's a sweet.
We all do, Kelly. I think
I pick on her and I bust her chops, but I absolutely adore and love her. She's such a sweetheart. She gets my sense of humor. Like sometimes she gets a little offended, but you know, I'm only kidding, baby. I love you.
Yeah. No, that's it. No, you got some great people that you've aligned yourself with.
Yeah, we've
built the course of time, and I'm real happy that they've been welcoming to me.
They're awesome.
Into this community, and it's a great thing. And what Mr. Slow says is true, right? It took 60 years to find out cigarettes kill. Yeah, I mean, if you look at TV shows from the 50s and the 50s, doctors are got a cigarette in their mouth while they're talking to the patients.
While they're delivering the baby.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like nobody saw it.
They're like Johnny Bench.
And even, I don't know how many years ago it was that these tobacco industry executives had to testify before Congress. But even in the modern time, and we're talking about, probably less than 10 years ago, these executives are saying, no, there's no proof that cigarettes are bad.
Right.
The congressman says, do you smoke cigarettes? No, I don't. Well, if you're so sure that cigarettes are good, how come you're not puffing them one after the other, right? Like, that's the first thing you got to wonder about. Somebody who sells a that's the thing you got to concern yourself with. If somebody promotes a product or sells a product but doesn't use the product, be concerned. It's like drug dealers, right? People who sell crack or cocaine or methamphetamine or any of this stuff. 9 times out of 10, those guys aren't using it.
Oh no, they don't. They don't even like
they don't
it.
use it. They stay away. They don't get high on their own supply because that leads to ruin, and they know
That's
it.
how I never made it as a weed dealer, because I loved my product and I would smoke the shit out of it. I'd be like, yeah, I'll owe you that 180 for that ounce, because
yeah,
I smoked it all.
But that's the thing, right? Like, if somebody's not confident enough in their own product to be using it themselves, then you should seriously question whether you should be confident in that product too. You know what I mean? Like, you should really have some questions about that.
Like,
There's
next
no
time
doubt.
I go to the festival, I'm gonna be like, all right, you do a dab of your shit, and then I'll do a dab of your shit.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see where you really stand on your product.
Yeah, let's see where you stand on your. Like, one dude, he was pretty proud. He had like a guy out there walking around with overalls on, with red, white, and blue on, and a cowboy hat. You know, they had their, you know, he was shouting and pulling people over to their tent, you know, and I got over there and I walked up and I was like, you know, and he was pretty proud about his stuff and he had a nice little display. And his stuff was, I would say, one of the better looking things that I saw throughout the day. Okay.
Yeah.
And he stood there and he had a joint the size of a gorilla's finger, you know, and in a rolling paper. And he was like, here. And he just handed it to me and I took a hit and I handed it back. And he was like, no, smoke that shit, man. And I stood there and I took 3 or 4 more hits while I was looking around at his stuff. I handed it back to him and I said, have a nice day. And I walked away.
And did you get high?
Did I get high? No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I was high pretty much all day. So
anyway, it's hard to tell, right?
It's hard to tell when you get higher. You know, I got a little higher. I don't know. I walked away. I didn't end up purchasing from him. So I guess I didn't like it. You know, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was looking, you know, at some of his trees. They were very strange looking buds. They looked very prickly. Remember I told you I had that one guy that had the prickly looking buds. They were very cut weird or whatever.
Yeah, so you got a question.
I didn't touch any of them. They just looked very dry, and the joint that I was hitting didn't really taste great.
Yeah.
It didn't taste weedy. It tastes more like, I don't want to say it, but it tasted. I don't know what hemp tastes like, I guess, but it tasted. That could have been my head, you know, the psycho in me.
Probably tastes like homegrown. Probably tastes like homegrown.
Yeah, all right. If we had to go with a taste, it would taste like Homestone. Yeah.
Although that's really hard to say anymore because
everybody's Homestone now, right? I mean,
like a lot of it, right? Like a lot of the since I moved to Ontario, I haven't really dealt with any cultivators, but in Alberta, I was close to quite a few of them, and in Quebec, fucking hundreds of them. And so technically, almost everything I smoked was homegrown. You know what I mean? Really, and it was.
Oh yeah.
It was better than you could buy in dispensaries. So I'm talking about the old school stuff, right? The shit we were smoking.
I hated that shit. Oh my God, I would kill. I would be so angry when we got Homestone.
Well, thank you, Robert. We appreciate you spending time with us. And what you're saying there about all this is still new. Vapes only 20 years old. Yeah, but when you're talking about nicotine vapes and vapes that are made with vegetable glycerin and propylene glycol, that's a whole different ballgame. You can't lump dabs into a situation like that, right? Because dabs done properly in a cart don't really have any additional carrier to them. So basically you're smoking pure cannabis concentrate, and that's a very different situation, right? So dabs you can't really lump into that category, but crap like this, yeah, absolutely. We don't know what this will do to people yet. We don't know.
Well, that's the same thing. Like Raggy just started. He's trying to quit cigarettes, I think, or something. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, no, he's trying to get used to the vape because the last time he tried vaping, he was having a hard time with it, inhaling it. And now that he's going to get this cart, so he picked up one of those nicotine vapes and he's been vaping that. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even want to tell him that those things are so much worse.
But I do,
cigarettes.
It's been my, you know, and I haven't been able to put this down yet. I hope that time comes very soon. You know, so
worse than cigarettes.
Well,
I feel they're way worse.
I'm glad that I'm able to help people understand a little bit better. You know, the mystery surrounding this green gem. As one of my aliens. Yes, it's about that time for sure. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. It's greatly appreciated. Tasha, please come back anytime. You know, you got something you need to talk about or would like to talk about, and
back all the time. We're here every day, 10 to noon, 10 to 12:30.
Yep.
Anywhere between 12 and 12:30, we usually get off. I got to run a commercial before this 28, and or I get in trouble. So,
all right. So run your commercial, and we'll sign off when you're done.
Yeah, you stick around, and because I want to talk to you for a second, and then we'll be back. You're listening. Well, you were listening to the Hippie and Dr. High. We'll be back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose.
We can say goodbye to them here. I can end this up here.
You're gonna go out there.
We'll be back, you guys. Thank you so much. Stick around. The fun guys coming up next.
So what are you gonna do?
Much love, everybody over here on Facebook.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day. Stay safe and stay stoned.
Don't you forget about the pharmacy.
Stay lifted.
No, you.
Peace.